What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Pregame Live. Phillies, Padres NLCS Game 1 preview. I am 1/3 of your trio here, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, my man El Parcero Philly. Check him out on Twitter at Parcero Philly. Below me, my man George Ryder. Check him out at @_George Ryder. You can check DSM Media out at DSM_media. But this pregame show is streaming live exclusively on the DSM Media YouTube channel. So if you're new to the channel, like this video, hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. Fellas, how are we feeling? We're talking about the Fightins.
The Fightins.
Shit. I got to try not to knock some shit over here, but how are we, boys? How are we? Scotty chiming in. Let's go, Fightins. Guys, drop your comments. Give us your predictions for the game. We got Zach Wheeler versus Yu Darvish on the mound tonight. We'll be breaking down that pitching matchup, getting to the lineup cards, what the Phillies need to do to steal game 1 on the road, because that is the goal. A split in San Diego is the goal. But is there a vibe? Is there a feeling that the Phils might take both, gentlemen?
Of course there is. Of course it's in the air. I mean, it's all momentum now. It's all momentum. And I mean, if you're telling me they can take two, they can take two.
Dude, you know it's real when George has got the beard, man. He's got the playoff.
Dude, I know. It's coming in full, too.
You already know.
It's good, George. I love it, man.
Thank you, man. I mean, we're gonna be rocking it for a little bit because I mean, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
Let's go. Now, Dylan, I was honestly worried about the Padres until I scrolled upon Twitter this morning and I saw probably the worst fight song, diss track, whatever you want to call it, ever. Like, if we can get that on here, like, I'm going to try to find that.
I got you.
That was embarrassing. How do you sit there on a San Diego news station and sing that atrocity, man? That was.
Race is going to lose. Machado's going to cruise.
Hold on, fellas. Just for the viewers to see this. Let's see.
Just for the
pull
vibe,
it up
man.
here.
For the vibe. Just for the San Diego vibes.
Down to yellow and brown. That's what's in. Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose. That's what's in.
Yeah.
Bryce gonna lose, and Manny's gonna cruise. That's what's in. No slack. It's sending them back. That's what's in. Philly going down.
I feel so much more confident now.
Talk to him. Listen, that if there was ever a doubt in any of our minds or any Phillies fans' minds out there, just watch that video and the series might be over in 4. Like, it's like that just ruined any moment. The Dodgers beat the 100+ win Mets on the road, then just beat the daunting Los Angeles Dodgers in what? In 4, right? Yeah, they beat the Dodgers in 4 in a 5-game set, and now that just set their timeline back generations. Whoever thought that was a good idea, I get it. They're joking. I get, but my goodness, I don't know what their fan base was thinking. What do you think LA's locker room, or LA? What do you think San Diego's locker room is thinking? You know, some of the players have seen it, or someone was like, "Yo, look at this." Don't show up to the ballpark. Do not show up at Petco Field because they don't want you there.
I think some players do appreciate that. Like, I think that certain athletes don't like playing here in Philadelphia because we're a little bit tougher on our players. But I think that there are certain players that like that, and they're like, "Oh, okay, like it's easy going. They're not going to criticize me here today."
I think there's a pretty big
than going electric. I like that better than the song.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also think there's a pretty big gap between being tougher and whatever the hell we just watched. That's like on the complete opposite end of the spectrum of being like a rah-rah fan base. But nonetheless, we're not going to sit here and keep talking about that horrible rap song, whatever you want to call it, to those Padres fans. It just makes the confidence level of us Philly fans go up. But I want to start with the pitching matchup tonight, fellas. As I said at the beginning of the show, Zach Wheeler on the bump versus San Diego's Yu Darvish. The Phillies' numbers against you are not the greatest. However, it's Wheels Day. There's always a confidence level in us when Wheeler's on the mound. There's always a level of success that kind of translates to that. He's coming off of a loss, obviously, in Atlanta, the only game they lost to the Braves in game 2, in which he had one bad inning, and not even an inning. He had 2. He got through 6 2/3, and then Rhys Hoskins makes an error at first base, and things kind of fall apart there. What are you guys, George? I'll start with you first. What are you expecting to see out of Zach Wheeler tonight?
I'm just expecting to see exactly what he is, and that's just he's an ace. Zach Wheeler's an ace. He showed it the entire time. Like you said, that 1/2 inning, it was rough. Maybe Rhys should have knocked it down. Whatever. It's over. It's done with. I'm just expecting to see him go out there and ball. I mean, I understand that the Phillies don't have the best numbers against you, but this Padres team doesn't have the best numbers against Wheels. Like, you look down the lineup, and Myers is 143, 1 for 7. Cronenworth 1 for 6. Machado's 2 for 9, batting 250. Profar's 2 for 5. That's the best guy out there, and obviously Josh Bell gets his, and so does Soto. But Wheeler's good, and there's a lot of guys in this lineup that also haven't faced him, which is not an advantage for the batter. It is not. And Zach Wheeler, you see that fastball, it's just absolutely dominant. He'll throw it 60% of the time, and you still can't catch it. I'm expecting Wheeler to go out there, be the same old Wheeler that we know, the guy that dominated this whole playoffs, who had one bad half inning, if you want to even call it bad. I'm excited. Right. I see a low-scoring game, but I think Wheels rolls. I think we see a 7-inning Wheel game.
I'm not really concerned about Wheeler. I mean, you know what they say. You know, it's when it comes to playoff time, it's a pitcher's game, and I really think that when it comes to Darvish and Wheeler, I think we're going to get ourselves a little bit of a pitching duel. I really do hope, because you is going to get some solid defensive help. I really do hope that Zach continues to get some solid defensive help.
I was just going to bring that up too.
Besides Rhys's error in Atlanta.
Well, so hold on. Let me throw this question into you real quick while you continue. So we just saw the Phillies have a couple mistakes mount up against them, against the Atlanta Braves, and they still found a way to win in 4, right? How perfect, like playing against this Padres team, do the Phillies need to be as close to perfect as you can be defensively in the field versus them, or will those mistakes kind of not translate over like you saw in the Braves series?
I mean, listen, I personally don't believe so. I really do think that the Phillies are pretty evenly matched up with the San Diego Padres. I really think it's going to come down to players. When you have such an evenly matched up game, I really think it's going to come down to that pitcher who, you know, especially with the bullpens. And listen, both of these teams have had some really solid bullpens. That's the
David Robertson back.
Dude, that's a big one. That to me is a huge one, man, because now you have an extra guy that you can put out there in the 8th or the 9th if you do want to listen to Popper. So it's really big, man. But the bullpen's going to be big too.
Okay. Keeping on this Zach Wheeler train, this defensive side of things, before we switch over to the offense, which obviously gets all the highlights, gets all of the talk most of the time. George, if you had to hand pick one Padre to limit or take away from this lineup, because he's the guy that can get the train moving and set the plate for the entire lineup, who is it?
It might be a very chalk answer, but it's Juan Soto. And like I know you can point towards multiple guys. This lineup has a lot of heavy hitters, but it's Juan Soto. You know, he has experience, first of all, in the playoffs. He's a World Series champion, no matter how young he is. He's been through it all. And he's built for these moments. Like he's been through this. He's played the Phillies. Obviously, he knows the Phillies very well. He's the one guy that can break open a game. He is our Bryce Harper. No matter, I know Machado's so good. Juan Soto could be the Bryce Harper to them. It's just one swing of the bat, and it's a game changer. And obviously, there's multiple guys that can do that in that lineup. But I think Juan Soto is just that one generational guy that you're always scared of when he comes to the plate.
George, do you agree?
Real quick though, George, like how big was that trade though? Because we're all forgetting that they're missing Tatis at the moment. And it was a huge move for them to get.
I just keep thinking back at Tatis, because if he was in this lineup, I feel like our fear would just be so much more heightened. But 100%. Yeah, that's they went. There's a reason.
3 superstars in the lineup.
Yeah, there's a reason why when the Padres went all in and traded for Soto, everybody and their mom was screaming that World Series champs. There they are. There's your favorite right there. And now we're kind of diminishing them because they own Tatis, but they're still a freaking hell of a team.
So, Parcero, do you agree? And I didn't look at the numbers in the Mets or Dodgers series for Juan Soto, but I brought this up last night. Like, we know the generational talent he is. We know how much it took for them to acquire him, but it hasn't felt in the second half of the season that they've gotten the Juan Soto they were trying to acquire. He's still been good, but he has not been anywhere near 290 plus type of baseball. The power numbers haven't been there. Is he the guy you're trying to take away, or is it someone else?
So when I look at this lineup, though, it's every game for the Padres, it's been someone different. And one thing I was going to mention, guys, the one thing I would really look at is the latter part, the bottom part of the batting lineup over the Padres. That's really been damaging for especially in the Dodger series. Kim, Grisham, and Nola.
Grisham,
like all three of those dudes were able to put up some damage. And when you look at the top part of the rotation, you got Soto on the 2, Machado on the 3, Bell at the 4, Cronwith at the 5, and then you're like, okay, all right. And then 2 batters later, Kim's getting on base. Same thing with Grisham, and the same thing with Nola. So that's going to be a big part of it. So when you look at the Padres lineup, it's not really one guy you kind of can pinpoint at. Tonight might be Juan Soto's night. Game 2 might be Manny Machado's night, and that's the dangerous part about this Padres lineup. It's pretty balanced.
So let's flip it over to the Phillies lineup then, because I think what you just said perfectly describes what you've seen out of the Phillies lineup, especially in the Atlanta series, is the bottom part. Brandon Marsh with a big 3-run home run. Gene Segura is the 8-hole hitter. He's constantly on base. Bryson Stott had the at-bat and the hit that changed the playoffs for the Phillies against Spencer Strider. So you're getting the same kind of complimentary ball from the 7, 8, 9 hitters in Philly that you're talking about looking at in San Diego. So George, talking about this Phillies lineup, it's the same as it's been, with the exception of, and I think they did it in Game 4, where Stott's 7, Marsh's 9. That was the first time they switched it. Rob Thompson's going with that again. Gene in the 8-hole, and we know what the top 6 looks like. Talking about this lineup, because even before the year started, when Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos were acquired in Philadelphia, and obviously there were a lot of lows that went on throughout the season, but we all sat here and talked about it, and I said, you cannot name me one lineup outside of the Los Angeles Dodgers that I would not take this Phillies lineup over. And if there was one more, it would probably be the Atlanta Braves, who the Phillies just mashed and beat the shit out of, right, in the last series. So and obviously that was before the Juan Soto and Josh Bell trade, but while I acknowledge the depth of the San Diego Padres lineup, I'm taking this Phillies lineup over the Padres lineup. And I don't even think the Phillies lineup has fully ascended yet. Yes, scored 17 runs in 2 games at home over the weekend. Kyle Schwarber has 1 hit in the postseason. Before that home run, Rhys Hoskins was a non-factor. Alec Boehm had 1 hit in the weekend series at home against the Braves as well. So it's not like they're more their leaders throughout the year, and Alec Boehm and Kyle Schwarber haven't even gotten going yet. So George, talking about this lineup, who or where in the order do you pinpoint to step up tonight against Yu Darvish?
Well, first of all, you pretty much hit it perfectly, saying, because we talked about it so much at the beginning of the year when we acquired the lineup, when we know what we have, we looked at it top to bottom, we said easy top 3 offense in baseball. Would you not agree right now this lineup is better than we were on opening day? It is
1,000% better.
1,000% better. And like, if we're talking about that then, and now we're finally picking it up, there's a reason why the 4 through 7 spot, the 4 through 8 spot, we're just on a freaking heater at one point, and everyone was just talking about them. This lineup, super, super deep. And I know Schwarber and Rhys, up and down, we don't like it. There's a high note on that. Rhys Hoskins hits 375 in his career against you. He's 6 for 18. There's a chance. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, we have a chance. This lineup is just as deep as the Padres, better than we were in the beginning of the season, more experienced now. Young guys are obviously coming into play, stepping into their own, knowing what they have to do. Like seeing Stott go out there and get that 9-pitch at bat and rip it double, it just
changed everything, man. It literally changed everything. But I want to add on here, right? And you started to see it over the weekend. Bryce homers in back-to-back games. The power's coming back. He's hitting like 500 in the postseason. He's not going to slow down. You saw Rhys with the power. JT hits the inside the Parker. Gene's been steady. But the daycare, right? The daycare has lifted this team up during so many lows throughout the year and has won them a decent amount of games. It's time for the senior citizens, as JT called them before. It's time for the veterans on this team to fully take. Sarah, we just talked about taking the reins off the Sixers bench and running with it. It's time for the veterans and the leaders of this clubhouse to step up and go win you an NLCS. Boston Scott, Bryson Stott, and Brandon Marsh's hits and RBIs in the NLDS were huge. It is now time for the leaders to go win you a National League Championship Series.
No, I'm going to pinpoint myself to one guy because I think that Reese Hoskins' 3-run home run in Game 3 was huge. I thought that Bryce Harper's back-to-back home runs in back-to-back games was huge. But the one guy, guys, it's Schwarber. Schwarber we signed him for these type of moments. Exactly right. These type of
for that Houston Astros leadoff home run moment in the clincher. That's the moment.
That's all I need to step up, man. That's because listen, if we get Schwarber in the series, there's no way the Padres are beating us with what else we have in our lineup. I'm telling you, it's just not going to happen.
Yep,
I agree, man. And the energy's going. I was on the Faithful Fanatics weekend yesterday, and I'm like, man, I just don't see them losing. That's how high, it's more of a vibe than anything else. But then you get into the evidence, you get into the facts and the background and analyze the series a little bit. It sounds crazy to sit here and be like, I want the team that just beat the team, right? But I'm so grateful it's not the Dodgers tonight. Not that the Phillies can't beat the Dodgers, but that was the end-all be-all. That was the cream of the crop. How do you guys feel about just who we're playing? Take away the fact that it's not the Dodgers. Are we underselling and undervaluing what the Padres are doing? Because I'm sure their fan bases kind of view them like we're sitting here, oh, team of destiny, the vibes are immaculate. If you're a Padres fan, outside the corny ass rap, you beat the Mets and the Dodgers.
Yeah. Now, listen, let me tell you this. I think that why we feel a little more optimistic is because when you look at the Padres, you look at a team that's pretty almost even to us. So you have to feel that with some of the players that we have in this dugout, that has to take us over the edge. Them buying into Rob Thompson. It is, I'm telling you, everything is pretty close. And that's why I think that there's that optimism. Anything can happen. And, in the playoffs, crazier things have happened, guys.
Crazier things happen. We're already at crazier things, Parson. We are like beyond crazier things. The meter, the bar keeps getting moved, right? But in a positive way. This isn't Cowboys fans moving the goalposts, right, after a loss. This is the expectations continue to get higher because it was get into the playoffs. Anything can happen. Then it was, oh, maybe we can win a wild card series. Then it was, holy shit, can they beat? And then they beat the Braves.
Yeah, and that was a big one.
That is when everything turns real. And it's not that they beat the Braves. It's the way they beat the Braves and the confidence oozing out of this ball club right now, playing that loose, free, fun
Dude, they
style
played Braves
of
baseball and beat them like that.
Yeah. Acuna looked like.
Then they walked across the street. They walked across the street and celebrated at Xfinity Live with the fan base after, man. If I could play the song right now, I would play Dancing on My Own right now, but we'd probably get kicked off of YouTube for copyright issues. So I'm not going to do it, but I might hum it at some point or another. That's the thing. When I first heard them playing that song, I think it was in Houston when it was like, oh, Schwarbs put them onto that song and that was to celebrate. I was like, what the hell is happening here?
It's no dreams and nightmares, that's for sure.
Oh, it's close because I played it 9,000 times on Saturday.
Yeah, no,
after they won.
I'm giving this guy so much money. This artist is making bank right now off stream.
Calum Scott and Tiesto, and it's the Tiesto remix, I believe. It's been unbelievable, man. But all right, so we talked about the pitching matchup. We analyzed both lineups. They're, like you said, Parcero, they are very close. I will give the Phillies the edge, though. I think they're a little bit deeper. Talk to me about Parcero. I'll throw this to you first. It's hard to talk keys to victory in baseball because so many different things can happen. One swing of the bat can change everything. But what's a key to victory you have for the Phillies to find success tonight in Game 1? Because stealing this game sets the table. I think here's my opinion. The Phillies split no matter what. I think the Phillies at least take one back to Philadelphia with them. But if they win tonight, they're taking both. Yeah, I firmly believe that. So what do they need to do? Is it plate appearance? Is it no errors in the field, playing a clean game in the field? Is it Wheeler getting through 7? What's the biggest key to you?
Well, I don't want to go too cliche here, but I do want to put this out there because I've watched the playoffs from afar. Like, I haven't diligently watched the playoffs the past couple of years because of the Phillies the past couple of years. But the one thing I've noticed is there has been a couple teams over the past couple of years who should have won a World Series. And because of analytics and because of making decisions based fully off of analytics have killed them in the
calculator.
past. Yes. So Topper at times has relied a little bit too much on the analytics. Make your decision based off of your judgment. The one thing about this series is and the one thing we haven't really talked about in baseball, look at some of the successful teams. They have managers that could be our grandpas, our pup-ups, all right? So, Rob Thompson is a vet,
Literally.
right? It's the same thing with Bob Melvin, all right? Are these guys going to have to listen too much from up top, too much from the calculator? I think that is going to be the big key. It has really killed teams in past NLCSs and ALCSs and even the World Series. So to me, I have to put that out there. That's got to be key. Judge what you see on the diamond and with your players as well. That's why you have that trust.
George, what's your main key to victory tonight?
It's giving Zach Wheeler a cushion. It doesn't matter what inning it is. I hope it's early, but you got to give him a cushion.
Does it matter how big of a cushion? Is a 2-run cushion in the third inning?
I would feel most comfortable with a 2-run cushion. A 1-run cushion, anything can happen. But
right.
Zach Wheeler, man, he's been pitching that 1/2 inning, man. That 1/2 inning leaves a sour taste on people's mouths. But he was rolling, and he hasn't been outpitched by any of his opponents, even though they all rolled at that when they pitched next to him. But he hasn't been outpitched by any of them. It's toe to toe every time. Yu Darvish is great. I think Yu Darvish is awesome. I think Zach Wheeler's better. And if you give him a cushion with this offense, obviously both offenses compare very well together. That's all you need, man. You got to jump on you. Obviously, you could say the same for the Padres end, but it just seems like an easy answer, but it's a true statement.
I love the answer because I think specifically on the road, getting out to a quick start and kind of silencing that road crowd for a bit, it plays a big factor. Don't tell me that home field advantage isn't a real thing. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like in San Diego, but it seemed pretty real against the Dodgers. And when I'm pretty sure a Red October was a real thing here in Philadelphia. Like, it's a real thing to a lot of fan bases. Like, yeah. So get out to a quick start and kind of silence the home crowd in San Diego for a bit and allow Wheels to settle in. But it's a quick start for him too, though, right, George? Like, obviously we're up to bat first. If things, if the Phillies go down 1-2-3, it's a quick inning. Come out and get your offense right back on the field with a quick inning. Do not allow them to sit back and work you 20, 22 pitches. Have it be a high stress type of start for you tonight. But one thing we haven't mentioned at all, and it feels pretty comfortable to not talk about it because it's not a worry.
The bullpen.
Yeah. Guys, like, how crazy is this? I'm so comfortable behind this Phillies bullpen right now. Like, I would love Wheeler to get into the 7th. I think 17, 18 outs right around there is what I need out of him tonight.
It just got better.
I'm comfortable with him getting through 5 2/3 or 6 or just through 6 or 6. You know what I mean? Whereas before I'm like, oh man, I need him to get into like the 8th tonight. No, I trust Jose Alvarado. I trust Anthony Dominguez. I trust David Robertson. I trust Brad Hand. I trust Zach Eflin right now. So there's really nowhere you can pinpoint in this bullpen. They just beat the Braves with a freaking bullpen game in a clincher.
Yeah,
like that's how high.
Oh my god, I can't believe you're saying that.
I was at game 3, man. It was loud. Robertson is back 100%. So
Bill, let me ask you real quick, or George as well. Robertson, what is his role coming back? What do you guys want to see him as? In what position?
I mean, at this point, it's just kind of you kind of play by ear, right? It's in playoff baseball.
I think it's any high leverage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I know regular season baseball is more of like it's a role. I feel like playoffs, it's kind of you go with what is the best
feel of the game. Yeah, because I agree. Because here's the thing: like realistically, you view him as what, a 7th or 8th inning guy. Like right now, Sir Anthony Dominguez is there's no more question about that. What he's looked like in the postseason so far. Jose Alvarado, 7th or 8th because of how lights out he's been. Brad Hand is another guy that can throw in the 6th or the 7th. Robertson can throw in the 7th or 8th. But I also think if you get Wheeler or Nola or Ranger or someone in trouble early or their pitch counts up and you need 2 outs in the 5th or 6th, I think you see Robertson's number called then because you trust him enough to just it's game by game, right? So it's do what it takes to survive and win that night. It's inning by inning in this situation. So even if you want Robertson to be your 8th inning guy, your setup guy, but you need 2 outs in the 5th with first and second and 1 out, you might have to call David Robertson. I don't think there's a defined role for him at the moment, Parcero.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. Like I feel like that's kind of that might be just the vibe in playoffs in general, but especially later in the NL, like especially 7-game series, man, like you're gonna be running through some arms, and it's just kind of day by day.
Well, I think that's it. That's something we haven't talked about. That's a great point by you, George, because the Phillies and us, we're not used to that yet. We went through a little short 2-game sweep, and we went through a four best of 5, right? A best, so we're not used to this long stretched out 7-game series. So more arms, more starters, more relievers used. So it's going to be very interesting, fellas.
Probably also more defensive blunders. Just be ready for that.
That is true.
Kind of
we've gone through it all. Do the Fightins take game 1 in San Diego tonight with Zach Wheeler on the mound? Parcero, you're up first.
One more factor that we didn't talk about. Phillies have definitely an advantage when it comes to just base running in general. The Padres do not.
I did see this, yeah.
They do not run the base whatsoever. You've seen the Phillies steal how many bases? You have seen the Phillies get in those extra bases, get in those doubles and those triples. And also, if the Padres happen to want to steal a base, you have JT Realmuto back there. So it should be easy sailing for Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola in these 2 games.
Not just that, though, real quick. I did see that Yu Darvish's numbers aren't great. Like, you can run on Yu Darvish is something that I saw earlier today. So if the Phillies had the opportunity to do so, do it. Make Austin Nola make that throw. Make Yu Darvish be quicker in his delivery and his stretch to the plate. So, like, when Strider threw over and then Marsh goes to third, a better throw by Matt Olson, he's out at third base. Yeah. But you make him make that play. Make him make that throw. He wasn't able to. So if you have the opportunity to run on Yu Darvish tonight, do it. Give yourself an advantage on the base paths. I love that point, dude. But
real quick, I will say this. I think that the Phillies will set the tone in game 1. I got a leadoff home run by Kyle Schwarber. He's going to set the tone right off the bat. I got the Phillies getting it's going to be a low scoring one. I got a 4-3 victory here for the Phils. Wheels goes, I'm going to say 7 innings. You got Alvarado and Dominguez coming out in the 8th and 9th, and I think the Phillies take care of business in game 1, man.
George.
Love it. I'm with you on the low scoring game. I think Wheeler rolls. I think you get him through 7. I think the 8-9 you nailed as well. I'm going with you there. I think the Phils win 3-1. The bats have been freaking just on fire, freaking insane. But I think it takes a little slower roll than Yu Darvish on the mound. Get a nice 3-1 victory and roll into game 2 with Blake Snell and Nola. A little revenge game for Harper.
I'm going to go with the Fightins game 1 victory, 4-2 tonight. I think Wheeler deals. He gets into the 7th, maybe 6 1/3, 6 2/3 innings pitched tonight. He deals. The bullpen comes in and shuts things down late. I love the Kyle Schwarber home run tonight because I think he's built for this moment. Parcero, you're going lead off. I'm going to take a little bit of a different route, and I'm going to say not a solo home run, but Kyle hits a 2 or 3 run home run between the 6th and the 8th inning tonight to kind of separate the Phillies, whether it's 1-0 at the time or 2-1. He hits a home run to give them that cushion late in the game for the Phillies bullpen tonight. And I said it earlier, and I will say it again. If the Phillies find a way to take game 1 tonight, they are coming back 2-0 to Philly, and the series isn't getting back to San Diego. It will be over by Sunday, and it will be over in 5. But tonight's the game. I think regardless, they come back 1-1, which is the job, right? It's to bring back home field advantage for a slight second. But then having to win 3 in a row, or in that case, 4 in a row, if you lose tonight, is extremely difficult. It allows the Padres to go back home for 6 and 7. Tonight's the game to go and get them.
The Fightins.
I am stoked, Steve. Go Phils. Sixers come on in it's the opener, so probably it'll be delayed. But hopefully around 12, 15 minutes from right now. Are the Flyers already on, Parcero?
I just turned it on. I do the little DVR thing, so I like to watch from the beginning, but it does look like they have just started. They're doing a little montage because obviously Torts is going back to Tampa. It's like a big deal.
I did a little celebration. I get you. But guys, this is after a tremendous weekend in Philly sports history. We have another tremendous week and weekend to come right now. Starting tonight, Phillies game 1 NLCS in San Diego versus Padres. Sixers kicking things off in Boston against the Celtics. The Flyers
Union playoffs on Thursday, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
Myself, for Parcero, for George, for DSM Media. Have a great rest of your night and enjoy the games.